Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Humza Yousaf has got a major problem. What am I saying? Humza Yousaf has got yet another major problem. After setting himself up as the continuity candidate in the election for leadership, he, of course, claimed of his close relationship with the previous regime and how he would continue doing their good works. Not a good look. Now, of course, he's trying to distance himself, doing the old reverse ferret, and he even claims he's never even heard of this Peter Murrell character. Well, the trouble is, Peter Murrell lent, and I use the word lent quite inappropriately, I think, lent the party £107,000 out of an account that Nicola Sturgeon apparently knew nothing about. My arse. So, he has got this position where he is owed £107,000 by the party. This is this tainted couple, this toxic, now seen to be toxic couple that apparently are owed £107,000 by the party. They've still got this lien, if you like, on it. Now, the Scottish Conservatives have said that if Humza Yousaf really wants to expunge himself of this toxicity, get away from the blight that was the former regime, he must, of course, immediately pay back that £107,000 and then not be sort of behoven to the Murrells. It's a good advice, really. It's good advice. If you're trying to distance yourself away, just pay the debt, get rid, and walk away the other way, and leave them to their own devices. Really, it might be in jail. Who knows? Who knows what's happening? But you need to, get that solid distance, clear blue water, if you will, between them and you, and that means not having any ties. And that £107,000, of course, is a tie. So that's part of the problem. But that's not the main part of the problem. The main part of the problem, of course, is that the SNP haven't got anything like £107,000 in the bank with which to repay them. And they're not likely to ever have that amount. The party, the membership is drifting away. They're getting fewer and fewer members. The politicians themselves are threatening to withhold funds over certain things that the party's doing. They're not attracting investment from businesses or private backers like they could. So how Peter Murrell is ever going to get his £107,000 back seems to be a bit of a mystery. But we'll take a look at this article, see what's going on, and to see if Humza Yousaf ever has any intention of repaying that loan, or will he continue to keep himself tied to the apron strings of Peter Murrell and Nicola Sturgeon? Here goes. So Humza Yousaf told the SNP must immediately pay back Peter Murrell's £107,000 loan. The Scottish Tories have written to Humza Yousaf to demand that his party immediately reimburse its former chief executive the rest of his interest-free loan to them. And of course, the trouble is, he's on the phone. He's on that invisible. I've made that joke before, but he's on that invisible phone, screaming for his mummy because he realises he's out of his depth. Like I say, they don't have anything like that in the bank. They are skint. The SNP has been urged to immediately pay back the massive loan it received from former Chief Executive Peter Murrell amid accusations that it is the only reason he has not been suspended from the party, and it could be that. If you suspend me, I'm going to claim my loan back immediately. And they say, well, okay, you can stay in, but can we have more time to raise the money? That's basically it. We previously told how Mr. Murrell handed out a £107,620 interest-free loan to the party in June 2021 to help with cash flow issues. I wish I had £107,000 to lend to them. I wouldn't lend it to them, of course. I just wish I had it. Since then, the SNP has paid back less than half this cash, with some £60,000 still outstanding, according to its latest accounts published last year. Not this year's accounts. Be a while before you get them, I think. But Mr. Murrell has since been forced to resign from his role as chief exec after being accused of misleading journalists about the party's membership figures. No, he hasn't been accused of misleading. He's been found lying, and that's it. Stop using the weasel words. The new leader, Humza Yousaf, has attempted to distance himself from the previous stewardship of the SNP by criticising past governments, saying it was not as it should have been. And this is the man who made big play on being part of the last regime, the continuity of the last regime because he was so closely involved at all layers and all levels of that past regime, which he now claims he never heard of, because he is running scared. He is frit. He has no idea what he's got himself into, and he's got damn well no idea how he's going to get himself out without facing questions. He's going to have to go to not go to prison. He's going to have to go down to the police station and answer questions under caution, I suspect. He knows far more than he's sort of implying, I suspect. Anyway, he also claimed that having a husband and wife team at the top, which the party had for 8 years, was not appropriate, and pointedly said, "I can tell you my wife is not going to be applying for the role of chief executive of the party." Although, of course, having created a role for one person, the independence minister, he then employs that person's wife in another senior role, going against what he's literally just said. But you don't expect any less, because, as I said in that video, he is a moron. Because it's the only reason. It's either a moron or he thinks everyone else is a moron because he's arrogant. No, I think it is a moron because you wouldn't do that knowingly when you can be. It's just. Words fail me when it comes to describing how stupid that man is. That's how stupid he is. He's so far down, I cannot even think of the correct words. And I'm pretty bright, Anyway, despite all this, he refused to commit to suspending Mr. Murrell's membership after he was arrested and questioned by police. But you wonder why. Why would you not suspend him? Because he owes you $60,000 and you haven't got it to pay back. That's why. Michelle Thompson had the whip removed while cops investigated her property dealings, and Natalie McGarry was also suspended while detectives probed potential fraud. She was later jailed. This is the SNP through and through, isn't it? But Mr. Yousaf was asked whether it was right for the former chief exec to keep his membership. He said, "He has of course been questioned under caution, which of course is undoubtedly serious, but I tend to work on the premise that someone is innocent until proven guilty, unless they're breaking the hate law that I brought in." He didn't say that, but we can, because it's true. But MSP and Scottish Conservative Chairman Craig Hoy believes the First Minister has an ulterior motive to keep Mr. Murrell in the tent, with the money it owes to him being the biggest issue, of which there is no doubt. He has written to Mr. Yousaf to urge him to repay the debt immediately so that it can deal with him properly. He told the Scottish Daily Express it appears that the real reason Humza Yousaf has not suspended Peter Murrell's membership is because his party owes its former chief executive about £60,000. How can there be any confidence in due process when the SNP literally remains dependent on Peter Murrell's mates rates loan with no interest to stay afloat? Humza Yousaf's party must repay this loan immediately. And he's right. Without that money, the SNP are bankrupt. They'd have to be liquidated. They do not have the ability even to repay that loan. So as a sort of the chief creditor, Peter Murrell is in a very, very strong position. And it makes me wonder if that position is why the SNP is paying for Murrell's defence. He's got to be found guilty. He's got to be found innocent at all costs. If Murrell is found guilty, the party could be liable for an awful lot of fines. That money that they owe him would have to be repaid immediately. It would bankrupt it would bankrupt the SNP within minutes if he is guilty. So the only way that the SNP can continue to survive is if Peter Murrell is found innocent, and that I think is why they have got and employed this hugely expensive solicitor, who's not a very good solicitor, but he is at least hugely expensive, to try and get him off, to get him free and safe, because without it, they're finished. I think this is the case. It is a rumour, it is speculation on my part and others' parts, but it does seem consistent with the facts. Anyway, in the letter, Mr. Hoy said it was odd and inconsistent that the party had not followed the precedent it set with Miss Thompson and Mrs. McGarry. He added, it is hard to avoid the conclusion that the decision not to suspend Mr. Murrell is connected to the fact that, according to the most recent SNP accounts, he is still owed around £60,000 of his £107,000 loan to the party. It goes without saying that it would be totally unacceptable for the integrity of Scotland's governing party to be compromised in such a way. Last week, Mr Yousaf insisted to journalists that the party would repay it in full, but refused to say how much of the debt was still outstanding. He also, of course, refused to say when it would be repaid, which I think is also very telling. If you can't come out and honestly say, yes, it'll be repaid, and it'll be repaid on this time frame, and we hope to do it in 2 tranches, one in 6 months and one in a year, and then make sure you stick to them. But no, that's the SNP. Got to keep them secrets, can never tell the truth. He said, I'm not going into the details of all that, obviously, because he can't help his sneakery and secrecy. He said there's obviously going to be a discussion around repayment of that loan and what the terms of that payment are, but I don't want to get into the significant details. Of course, the intention is to repay it. Intentions are very good, but it's the actions. It's actions that count. The SNP has been approached for comment and has said nothing, and that's hardly surprising. What, of course, can they say? They're in a terrible position. They are financially, if they're not actually, insolvent, they must be so close to it. And it wouldn't surprise me if they actually do go bust and they cease to exist as a party. I think a lot of people would be very pleased to see that. I think a lot of people would probably have a party. They'd be down the offie, buying whatever they could get, coming back, watching the news, cracking those tinnies open, popping a few corks if they've got some fizz, that kind of thing. It would be a good day. It'd be a great day, wouldn't it? It'd be an excellent day. And so here's looking forward to it. Anyway, I shall round off here and I shall come up. Thank you. I think Humza Yousaf needs to answer these questions. He needs to say categorically that the defence was paid for, but not for Peter. They've got to. It's not even a case of innocent until proven guilty. They have got to be unequivocal and prove that there is no influence by Peter Murrell on that party because of that debt. And I don't think they can. I think that the insinuation has been made. I think it stands. It stands with the evidence. It stands with the facts that Murrell is owed so much money that if he was to demand instant payment and they couldn't pay it, he could actually go and call in the creditors, and basically bankrupt the SNP overnight. And I don't think at the moment he'll do that, because he probably could. I mean, and it wouldn't surprise me if he did, if he loses. But I think that he's using that debt as a lever, because if you've got leverage, then you have power. And I think that is undoubtedly why he's having that defence paid for. That's why he's still a member of the party. That's why there's still a lot of dealings around him. They cannot afford for him to basically bankrupt them, and he could as their chief debtor. So yeah, I mean, it stinks to high heaven, and then they absolutely don't have the money to repay him. Otherwise, they would. And like I say, I don't think with the falling membership they're ever going to be in that position. So, it's popcorn television. I've got so many stories still to do. I'm probably only going to do one more, maybe one more, because I'll leave the rest of these perhaps for over the weekend. But the trouble is, I wake up in the morning, there's going to be another 23 bloody stories. It's never-ending river of shit for the SNP, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you like this one. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, always repay your debts, and goodbye.